What do you mean by artificial famines?
Yeah, that's a good question. What are these artificial famines, right? If you look at the history of India, before the 1700s, in the 2000 years before the 1700s, there were maybe like three famines in India. Three. In 2000 years. After the British started taking over India, there's a famine every year in every part of India. Okay? Hundreds of famines during the 250 years of British occupation. The last one was the Bengal famine in the 1940s.
40s.
Okay? So these were artificial famines. The British realized that why should we fight the Indians? I mean, the Indians are dangerous, they'll fight back, but they can't fight if they don't eat. So engineer famines. So how do you engineer famines? You engineer famines through a signature, through a piece of paper, by changing policies. So let's say you have a region of India where everybody raises various kinds of crops, let's say wheat, rice, whatever it is. So you now decree every farmer will now grow indigo, or every farmer will now grow cotton, or you will all grow opium now. So you are growing stuff that is a cash crop, but you can't eat that. And that will be then taken by the British. That opium, let's say these guys have been forced to grow opium. The British will then take the opium and export it to China. Forcibly. They will force the Chinese to import the opium, and in return, the British will get silver from China. So they take this, they converted Indians into slave labor, okay, who would grow cash crops for them. The cash crops bought them silver from China. It destroyed China also by addicting the Chinese to opium. And because the Indians were forced to grow cash crops, they did not have food to eat. And eventually, there would be a famine. And you could, this is just one mechanism of creating an artificial famine. Of course, if there is a cash crop growing here, you can import food from the neighboring regions. But that would be prohibited. Okay? Those days, we did not have trains and transportation and trucks and whatnot, right? So it was not that easy to transport foodstuffs or whatever. And the British would probably ensure that that it was not transported. So this incredibly fertile, prosperous subcontinent, they turned it into a disaster zone. They created hundreds of artificial famines. There's this guy called Ravenshaw. If you go to Odisha, there is a Ravenshaw College. Ravenshaw. Great man, British guy who reformed society in India. That guy oversaw one of the famines in Odisha. When he was the, whatever designation he had there, he was the guy in charge, and he oversaw one of the famines. You had hundreds, like I said, of artificial famines in India. Even the Mughals did not do that bad. I mean, even they did not, ravage India that badly. The British did. So it was a policy. And I'll tell you what, some people may say, I'm over-exaggerating things. The British did the same thing in Ireland. The Irish potato famine. The British have done the same thing over and over again in various parts of the world, including in their own part of the world, in Ireland. Ireland obviously is not Britain. The Irish aren't English. The Irish hate the English actually, because of what the English have done to them historically. The Scots are not, historically they also hated the English. Even in the British Islands, nobody liked the English. Historically, it's true, right? So yeah. So that's the artificial famines, and we are not taught about this in history. We are told that the British were great reformers for India. They gave us the English language.
Yeah.
The English language is a bloody burden on India. Okay, we need to decolonize ourselves. People like me, people like me are mentally colonized because we speak English better than our local languages, right? It's because of what we went through in the education system and during our formative years. So English is a burden on us. It imposes a massive sense of inferiority on Indians. First of all, most Indians, they speak English at least because of school as one of the primary languages, but they speak English poorly, and they can never speak English with the accent that the English have. So, but you try to copy that, but you can't do that. So you have this feeling of inferiority. Okay, so you speak this foreign language, you don't speak it well, you don't speak it with the accent that the English have. And in Indian society, if you don't speak English well, you are regarded as somebody inferior, right? Yeah. You don't get a good job. You're looked upon as a gawwala bumpkin or whatever. This has to go. Right. This is deep mental colonization that's permeating every level in India. And we are simply furthering the reach of the English language today. I mean, it's like an official language in India today. Why is it an official language of India? So these are big issues that are left over from the British occupation.
Maybe right now, because I clearly remember one of my friends, like a couple of years ago, he was advocating for the Britishers. He was just sitting somewhere. He was saying, Raghav, see, we learned so much discipline. Do you know who got railways? And at that stage, maybe I was also somewhere convinced that maybe this was something all right, even if Britishers were here. They have given something. But the fact of the matter is that when you actually read about like famines and everything and all the things the Britishers have done to the country, they have probably taken India maybe a century पीछे लेके चले गए हैं.
I'll tell you what. If you try and calculate, okay, how much wealth the British extracted from India, various historians and economists have done that. Okay, so the best available figure is about, in today's USD terms, 75 trillion. 75 trillion. Recently, a shipwreck was found. Okay, near, I think in the English Channel. Okay, between the continent of Europe and England, a shipwreck was found that was a ship that originated in India somewhere, probably Kolkata or something. The entire ship was full of silver. An entire ship full of silver was being, it went underwater. It got wrecked. But imagine there was Indian silver. A ship full of Indian silver was going to England. That's just one small example. Now, when it comes to what the British gave India, they built railways for us. किसके पैसे से बनाया? They built the railways using our money, our labor. And what was the purpose of the railways? Was it to give Indians nice train rides? No. It was the infrastructure of extraction. If you wanted to extract stuff from India and transport it to the coastal ports from which it will go to England, you needed railways.
Right.
That's why they built railways. Not to serve the Indians. They gave us education. They destroyed our indigenous education system, which was the best in the world. The indigenous Indian education system gave the world the concept of universities, of proper universal education. They destroyed that utterly. Sanskrit was the primary language in India. They destroyed that utterly. Today, people don't even know what Sanskrit is, even though we all use Sanskrit vocabulary even today. Every Indian language has a lot of Sanskrit vocabulary. We don't realize that. So they destroyed our indigenous education system and they imposed their inferior colonial education system upon us, which we still continue today. We may teach computer science and stuff, but the way it's taught is the 19th century way.
I think this was the simplest way to destroy the culture.
Yeah.
And if you're, say, mostly proud about your own language and everybody is proud of their own identity, if you simply destroy it, eventually, you get the slave out of
Exactly. So if you want to enslave a people, this is how we do it. It takes time, but you enslave them completely thoroughly. So long after the master is gone, the slave continues to whip himself.
Right.
That's India today. Okay. So the British gave us railways? No. They made the railways with our money and our labor and for their benefit to extract stuff out of India. If they build roads and highways, same reason. If they gave education, they first destroyed our indigenous education system and then imposed their foreign inferior education system upon us to colonize us mentally. They destroyed India's industries. India was the world's first fully industrialized civilization, 5,000 plus years ago. If you look at the great metropolises in the Saraswati Sindhu region, you had hundreds of cities, okay, fully developed cities. It was a completely urbanized civilization that we had, our ancestors had. You had cities with incredible town planning. If you go to Manhattan, if you go to New York City, if you go to Los Angeles, you will see the grid system on the city, right? The city is laid out in grid system. We had that 5,000-6,000 years ago in India. We had flush toilets back then, okay? We had shipbuilding. If you see the port of Lothal, okay, there's a harbor in Lothal. If you see that, it compares favorably with the harbor in Visakhapatnam, which can accommodate aircraft carriers. But we're talking about something that's from 6,000 years ago. We had hydro engineering. We had every single form of industry back then. And the British, what they did is that they completely de-industrialized India. In India, everybody had an occupation. So when a kid was growing up, there was no question about job milega ke nahi. Every family, every community had their own occupations. There was no question of joblessness. The whole Indian economy was self-sustaining. It was brilliant. The British destroyed all of this. Today, a kid who is 12, 15, they don't know what the future is going to be like. I need to get so-and-so degree and then I'll have to go and stand in line for a job. Job milega ki nahi? We don't know. We did not have the situation at all. Everybody was peaceful. Everybody was prosperous. The country was... This was destroyed by the British. We have lost so much that we are not even aware of. And today we praise the British. Oh, उन्होंने judiciary दिया. The judiciary, did we not have our own form of judiciary? Did we not have our own form of, law and order and justice? Obviously, we had all those things. The British and the judiciary the British imposed upon India, it served the British. Okay? So when a British person approached the judiciary for whatever court case or whatever, that would be dealt with quickly. But when a native went there,
that would be questionable.
That would take time.
Is it so? People say that in 18th century we were world's one of the biggest GDPs.
Yeah.
What were we actually doing at that time?
So I'll tell you, there's this American economist whose name is Angus Madison.
Okay.
He compiled a history of an economic history of the world of the past 2000 years. Okay. And if you see that, you will see that between the year 1 AD, where his history starts, and the 1700s, India was the world's largest economy. India accounted for at least 1/3 of the entire world's GDP. Okay? During the time of the Roman Empire, India dwarfed Rome economically. The Roman Empire is what we regard as the greatest empire of all time. It was dwarfed by India's GDP. According to the American economist Angus Madison, who is extremely well respected. Nobody questions him.